Yeah, again, it's nice to be here, and it's nice to actually take us through our volunteer model and what are those things we need to look out for when we want to like select volunteers or recruit volunteers. What kind of volunteers do you want to have, and what kind of volunteer do you not want to have, and what's our belief, right? Why do we need volunteers in the first place? What are the benefits and motivation? How do we evaluate our volunteers? And how do we get them to be committed to a cause? Because most importantly, it's very important that you understand that people want to stay in a place where they can fight for something, where they can fight for a just cause, and where they can see themselves pushing a vision, and how those vision aligns with their own personal vision. So yeah, so I'll be sharing a whole lot, and I'm really looking forward to your questions and your comment, as well as I'll be looking forward to sharing some sort of like personal experience when it comes to like general volunteering and what you need to look out for. So what do we mean by volunteering? So I wouldn't really be defining what volunteering means, or but this is how we feel in Zozo Network about volunteering. We feel that volunteering is leadership, volunteering is relationship, volunteering is contributing towards a just cause. So when I say volunteering is leadership, it means that volunteering means that when you're coming into a particular organization to volunteer, you're coming to influence, you're coming to create change, you're coming to encourage some other people to also take action, you're coming to also lead a work. When I say volunteering is relationship, I mean that you can't just come to an organization to volunteer and all of a sudden, you're enjoying everything. It doesn't happen like that. So the same thing when you have your own volunteers, they can't just come in a day and you expect them to like be that super volunteer and the bigger volunteer that you want to like. It's a relationship. So let's take for instance your wife. Right? So when you marry your wife, or maybe as a lady when you marry your husband, you don't fall in love in a day. Yeah, it doesn't happen in a day. It takes time. So, and what makes your wife to fall in love with you, or what makes your husband to want to die for you, is as an husband, like you wake up in the morning, and when you wake up, the first thing you do is that you prepare tea for your wife and you kiss her in the morning. You know, that's relationship. Or she came back from work and she had a bad day, and you say, "How was work today? How do you do?" And you guys talk about it. It's a relationship, and these are the things that she continues to think about, and to say that yeah, she truly loves you. And so let's talk about our volunteers. How do they love the cause that they are fighting for? So the same thing, the relationship that you build with them, calling them and checking up on them. How are you doing? How do you do? Like how can we best support you? What are those things that you need over time? And they're like, oh, this person cares about me. And because of that, they are willing to like die for the cause, and they are willing to stay, for the cause. So volunteering is leadership, volunteering is relationship, and volunteering is actually contributing to a cause, to a just cause. What's our beliefs? I'm not going to be using any buzzword. So our belief is that you're not volunteering because you want to pack drinks, or you want to be, you just want to be on the registration desk, you know, because most times what I see volunteers who say want to volunteer, and all you want to do is logistic. All you want to do is just to pack drinks and then, to be on the registration desk. Volunteering, that's not volunteering. If you're actually volunteering, you're building some certain skills, you're taking on roles. So, for instance, if I'm coming into an organization to volunteer, how do I contribute to their overall social media strategy? How do I build content for this organization? How do I improve their brands? So you could say that I'm coming to this organization to improve their brand by 70%, and you can contribute. And when you're leaving, you know that you're living with a skill. You're living with something that you can apply in other work other work, and you can also get some other opportunities through the skills you've built while volunteering. So what we do at Zozo Network is that we ensure that our volunteers have strategic work that they are doing, not just that they have to be packing drinks or they have to be, distributing books at events, or they just have. So we ensure that they in strategic departments where they work. So for instance, I do more volunteer management, positioning connecting volunteers to resources, connecting volunteers to trainings that they can do. So this is like part of my work. So if I'm leaving, I can say that these are some of the things that I've been able to do. I can communicate the impact of my work rather than saying that I'm just busy packing drinks or doing all of those stuff. So we have volunteers that works on our grant writing training. They are in charge of, the recruitment. They are in charge of outreaches. They are in charge of reaching out, communicating um, with our participants. So these are like their work, and they know that this is what I'm doing. This is my core in the organization, and this is how I'm contributing to a major goal. And we have some volunteers who work around fundraising, so they lead our fundraising campaigns, they develop fundraising plan, and we have people in charge of monitoring and evaluation. They create baseline data and they create exit data. So if you see some of those things that some of those documents that you find or you're working on, or some of those data that you feel sometimes are created by volunteers who are actually contributing to the cause. So they are living with research-based skills that, okay, now I can create baseline, and I can create a baseline, I can create an exit, I can write reports, So we give our volunteers those strategic tasks, something that they can lead, and they lead different work, they lead different departments, they lead different programs. So they are living, whenever they are living, anytime they are living as a better person, So that's like our core. They are positioned for like strategic opportunities, and we place them on we give them strategic, they're like strategic positions. So that's our model, that's our basis. So if you want to like volunteer with Zozo Network, you can't just come that I want to come and just sit down and look. You have to be willing to lead a department. You have to be willing to work in a particular department. You have to be willing to give, like even during the programs, like you might be writing, like I've worked on contents before, like I was writing reports. So you have to be dedicated towards doing something. And that's our strong belief that volunteers have to come to the organization to develop key skills. And what are we looking out for, when we want to select our volunteers? So one of the I could recall when I joined, I joined in 2017, and it was before I turned 18 program in Ajegunle. And after that, I had to fill a volunteer form. Like, it was a very long form. It's like a lot of questions you have to fill, and you have to answer those questions to ensure that it aligns with what you want to do. It aligns with your personal goals. So there was just that long question, and I kept answering 150 words, 100 words. I just kept answering, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole lot. But then if you want to get the best answers, you need to like test people, like how resilient will this person be, right? So some people will not complete the application. Then we're able to like see those who are able to complete and those who are not able to complete. So when we look at sort of like sometimes when you apply for an opportunity, you see that sometimes the application is long, so that they can reduce the numbers of people who would apply, or they can reduce the number of the kind of people they would get, and they're using to test some certain things. So we are testing your resilience. So you apply, you submit the application, it will be reviewed. If you don't get in, you don't get in. If you like get a rejection mail, or you don't get in, and if you get in, you get an acceptance mail. And after that, it doesn't just stop there. Like, you have to, when we notice that your vision aligns with our vision, when we notice that your vision aligns with our vision, we call you for another round. You have an interview, and you do a real-time task. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's like there's a step. You do a real-time task before we now finally accept you and onboard you into our volunteer platform, and then we train you to prepare you for like the opportunity. So volunteering is not just that, oh, I like your initiative, and then you draw the person in, right? It's not just like that. It has to go through a process. You have to have a volunteer development plan. You have to have like a volunteer structure. And like, this is just like the way we recruit our volunteers, so that we can get like the best and people who are willing to commit their time, and their resources and their knowledge and skills to the cause. Or and most times we don't even look out for people who have already achieved everything and who are just want to use the organization to catalyze. We look out for people with the passion, people who are willing to learn. So if you can show the commitment that you're willing to learn, we going to definitely accept you. So yeah, what are you? So like this is a task, and this is just a question I want to ask you. And this is something that we look. So I don't want to tell you what we look out for in a volunteer, but I want to ask you, what are you looking out for in a volunteer? Mostly, have you ever thought of what do I need to look out for in a volunteer, and what type of volunteer would you not want to have in your organization? So I want to throw this to us so we can answer the question. So let's start with what are you looking out for in a volunteer, or what do you need to look out for in a volunteer? So yeah, I'm opening the floor for people to share, and then I type in here.
Hello?
Yeah, okay, John, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So personally, I would look out for, amongst other things, I'll look out for a self-motivated volunteer, and then I want to also ensure that if we are looking at filling a particular role, the volunteer that we are expecting should at least have a certain level of skill set that applies to that or that we want he or she to come and fill. And if otherwise, then the person should be ready to acquire those skills just so that he or she can be fit for the expected task. So just among other things, so that others can have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So yeah, who is willing to share again?
Hello, K-Factor.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking at interest. So are you interested in what we are doing? So when a volunteer is trying to fill the form, they already know that, oh, they're applying to volunteer for Sozo, but then they might not know too much. So now I think one of the questions I would look out for to even feel for something is that, what are my interests? So if my interest falls under any of the things that it's fine for Sozo to understand that, oh, our interests align. So I feel like interest should be part of it, and willingness to actually want to do,
Mm.
knowing that you have the skill set to embark on it. So I think interest and willingness.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, good evening. So for me, I think I will look out for, after interest and willingness, I'll look out for availability. So the volunteer doesn't really have to be
Yeah.
available every day, but if there's interest and there's willingness, but the volunteer is not available, it's almost as good as your job is not going to get done. So availability is one of the things I would consider before getting anybody on board. If the person is too engrossed with something, the person should probably stick there. But if the person can give, like, even though it's 1 hour, or 2 hours in a week or 3 hours in a week, and the person gets the job done, then it's fine for me.
Awesome. Want to
Hello?
share? Yeah, with you.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, for me, I will also look at for attitude, among other things. Some people can be highly skilled, but they may not really have the attitude to work with others. So I'll look out for attitude too.
It's all right, but I honestly think it can.
So who wants to go again? Who wants to share?
Hello?
I can.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so I served on the interview panel for a particular NGO here in Ilorin, and some of the people that came for the interview, having gone through the first stage, majority of them did not even read about the organization. They didn't know what they were coming in. They didn't know what they were coming in for. So I think part of the things that I'll look out for is the the has read about the organization and understands the work or he or she is coming to perform. You understand? So their understanding of what they are coming to do, I think it's key. So you have to reject a lot of people because they just wanted to, out of enthusiasm, do something without really knowing what they are coming to do. No complaint. Who wants to make profit would welcome such a person.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, guys. So this is what I'm seeing here. Like, okay, someone want to say something?
I think I've really learned a lot today tonight. Unless I just look at it, someone with an open mind, someone that sees what we push the community forward and is open-minded enough to come, approach, and bring the idea on board. Not somebody who waits for you to fail until he or she figures out on what to do. So someone who is open-minded and willing to release the information at the right time.
Awesome. So yeah, thank you guys for sharing all of these things, all of this stuff. So basically, this is like some of the things you need to think about. Like when you run an organization, you have to brainstorm, what do I need to look out for in my volunteers? What are those things that I need to look out for? And these are like some of the things that you guys have listed, like interest, availability, attitude, understanding organizational core values, open-mindedness, and a self-motivated volunteer, someone who can initiate things. While I'm still going to look at, while I'm still going to deep dive into what we look out for, definitely what we look out for in Sozo and how, I want us to look out for also what kind of volunteer would you not have. So I want us to share too.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to just say this out of an experience I had with someone.
Okay.
So I think we were talking on a group to volunteer and all that, and it was so adamant that it might even be a popular person because I learned that that's his trait, kind of. So it was bet on the fact that, oh, okay, guys, let's wear white shirt and blue jean, and it was so fixed on wearing short, like, and he goes, this is how I dress all the time. You get. So for me, I wouldn't want someone that is not able to understand his environment and adapt. So that's the word for me. Like someone who's not able to adapt to changes and move on. So for someone like that, I'm wondering. So you go for an interview. How would you dress? You get. You would want to do things like this. How would you? Okay, you are in a very cold region. How would you dress? You get. So this is person that is so close-minded and just so absorbed in themselves that they don't even understand. And this self-absorption thing, I get it because I have this narcissistic behavior too, but I'm able to understand that I can adapt, I can move, I move with societal changes, I move with the things that are happening around me, with the kind of setting that I have. So I wouldn't want somebody that does not understand that and they're always like, no, I wear shades, I will not remove it. Guy, it's not sunny, remove it. Stuff like that. So I wouldn't want someone that is not able to adapt and are so fixed on themselves.
Okay.
Awesome.
For me, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want somebody that is lousy or saucy. And the reason is that for especially if we are just growing, there are plenty of times that we'll have programs because we want to raise funds. Sometimes we send out invitations because we want people to be able to see our organization and support us. So imagine that I have a volunteer that is lousy, doesn't know how to speak well, and then he probably goes to insult maybe some people some people are big, but they don't show that they are big in their appearance. You might not know that this person is very, very, might be the CEO or something. So imagine a particular volunteer goes to go and speak ill of that particular Oga or something. That's how the funding relationship or the partnership relationship will just end. So for me, if you're allowed, you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to talk. Once I notice it, I can't stand such. So you can't even fit for them.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
All right.
Who wants to?
Again, concerning the volunteer I don't want to have. I think the first one is I don't want to have a volunteer who is not teachable. Someone who is always wise in his or her own side. He will go along with the vision. Then secondly, in NGO, we don't want someone who is always money conscious. We are always looking at raising funds to impact. But in this case, the person is now concerned over personal gratification, financial, we have to make money, fine, but at the same time, the focus is raising the funds for impact, for intervention, not for self-decorations of beautification. Someone who is not too money conscious, but who is extremely concerned about impact, and at the same time, who is teachable, we really go well with me. Thank you.
Who wants to share again? Is there anyone? I want everyone who has not spoken. Okay. Hello? Yeah, great.
Okay.
I'm with you.
My own, the kind of volunteer I wouldn't want to have is somebody that is close-minded. Close-minded now, in the sense that people that will have vital contributions to make, but they wouldn't want to. Maybe because they don't want other people to take credit. They want to be the one to take the credit for everything. So most cases, they wouldn't want to share their ideas out to benefit others. They want to keep it to themselves. Or they will wait until the CEO, yes, the major contribution from the brainstorming or from the group actually came from this person. So I wouldn't want to have such person in my team as a volunteer.
Sir, sorry, the third one, sir, I quickly want to add that volunteers the third one.
Okay,
volunteer and associable service, and so I quickly want to add volunteers that will not follow rules. They will be hardly to work with. So there is a set down standard, there is a set down rules. So they always have complaints or something to just exclude themselves from following the standard.
Then it is not here.
Okay, somebody wants to talk again.
Yeah, good evening. Okay, so for me, I would say a volunteer that is not ready to see within and beyond the scope of the vision of the organization. This is what I mean by that. In the last couple of months, I've had experience working with a number of people in my organization. And I've come to realize that certain people are actually not volunteering because they are vision driven as well. Some people just want to belong to a body, so to say. They just want to be able to boast, outside of the organization that they belong to a non-profit organization, and so to say, they really don't know what's going on in the organization, and they are not ready to be committed. So they don't really their own personal vision does not really align with the vision of the organization, and they are not ready to be committed. They just want to belong to a particular organization, so people can know this person belongs to this organization, or so they can just perhaps add it to their profiling, or just claim tend to claim the vision of the organization as it were, and not necessarily getting involved. So I would say a volunteer that is not vision driven. I think that sounds well.
Okay, sir. Sorry, I also want to put something there. Sorry for my background noise. Can I go on?
Yeah, you can. You can. I'm with you.
I should go on?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
I quickly just want to share this little experience. There was a time we are putting in for volunteer in our organization then. So I discovered that some people, because they are familiar with the founder, co-founder, whatever, they became familiar that they are not able to follow the necessary things they're supposed to be doing in the organization. I don't know whether you got what I'm saying, sir. They become familiar because they are friend or they are part of they know the person and they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So those kind of volunteer will be dangerous to the organization vision, and they will not be able to bring to reality the purpose and the goal of the organization.
Yeah, thanks guys for sharing all of this stuff. And we definitely we face these challenges definitely in Zozo, but there's a way we actually cope this, and it is through our volunteer evaluation. So before I go into the volunteer evaluation, I would share like the model that we use with us. So I've already shared a model of recruitment. So now what are the model of work? So first and foremost, when you join each and every department, you are responsible to commit your time to the department, and you are responsible to contribute. So what do we mean by contribution? What have you contributed to the department? What have you done? So let's take, for instance, maybe every 4 months, you have to write your report of what you've done in your department, and you can't write anything, or you can't even contribute. Like, we can't see that you've done anything. You can also, there's what we call a volunteer personal development review. So you get the form and you have to fill. And if you feel it and we feel like this is not we like it's not satisfying enough, then just kiss yourself goodbye from the organization. Sometimes you have to run, like they used to say, as much as you want to be human, running a non-profit, sometimes you also have to run it like you're running a business. Sometimes, so you need to look at people who have the character. So no matter, who has been your friends or somebody who has been your family, there was a time that we had to remove a whole lot of people, despite the fact that they've been with us for a couple of time and we know them. But because they were not delivering, we had to remove them and ask them to reapply if they really want to come back to the organization. So and with that, you can now get the people who are willing to stay and be committed. So whenever you join, you have a plan that you've created, that this is what you're expected to do. This is what I'm going to do this year. This is how I'm going to do it. And then, you have to go ahead to like ensure that. So how many of you have like a volunteer development plan that every volunteers gets at the beginning of the year, and they understand that these are their roles and everything? So sometimes if you don't communicate what volunteers should do, they might not be able to do anything sometimes in the organization. So, and apart from that, one of the things that we allow our volunteers to do is that we give them the room for flexibility. That is the room to like develop themselves. We understand that volunteers have their own initiative, volunteers have their own organization. So this is one thing that we recognize, whenever people come to our initiative, we recognize that they have their own initiative. So how do we also help them to like drive their own initiative? How do we also support them? So that's one of the things that we the truth is, when you take care of your volunteers, they will take care of the cause. And there are several volunteers who have come to our platform, and from coming to our platform, they actually created their own initiative, and we connect them to like several opportunities. Like within the organization, we connect them to leadership opportunities. So how many of us like connect volunteers to leadership opportunities within our own organization? What do I mean by leadership opportunity within our own organization? Like whenever we are having the strategy boot camp, our volunteers can attend. They get discounts. Whenever we're having the grant writing training, they can attend. Like I attended the Zozo grant writing training as a volunteer, and it was really, really super amazing. Like, I learned a whole lot of stuff that changed my work, and how I am approaching my work, and how I needed to like. Before I was just like, I don't know how to set goals and objectives and all of those stuff, but the grant writing opened my eyes to like a whole lot of stuff around grant management and around organizational management. So personally, that has helped my initiative personally, and it would definitely drive me to want to give back, to the organization that have given back to me. So when you take care of your volunteers, they want to take care of the cause. So like I said, leadership is not, volunteering is leadership. And if you're managing your volunteers, it's like you're assuming a leadership position. So leadership is not being in charge, but taking care of the people you're in charge of. So one of the ways we take care of our own volunteers is also by saying that we want to also support, as they contribute to our own cause, we also contribute to their own cause by connecting them to opportunities and training. So another thing is that we have like volunteer training. So volunteers are just like staff in a corporate organization. So every staff have access to trainings and opportunities to develop within an organization. So like there's a monthly training. I'm not supposed to share this with you, but I'm going to show you definitely. So this is like our our training schedule. You can see like people that we bring on board to like train. So like volunteer develop all of these key skills. This can help them personally, and it can also help them, within it can also help them within their own organization too, and they can go on to like build all of these skills. So they have, for every courses that they take, there are resources that they read about it. There are courses that they take around it. So it's not just about focusing on them getting the course. For some people, it's like, they have to just solve the problem they want to solve. They have to be focused on the course. They are not taking care of themselves. So we really take care of our volunteer. And that's like our strong model that has been working for us, and how volunteers can also develop within our organization, how we can connect them to job opportunities, or how we can prepare them for a job that they can do. Like I currently work with Peace First as a regional manager and fellow in residence for Sub-Saharan Africa. I manage grants. So part of what helped me was because I took the grant writing training, and I was able to like communicate this during my interview. And I was able to tell them that, hey, I have a skill in grant writing, grant management. I got this training through the Zozo network, and these were the things I've done within the organization. So so when people feel that they are part of an organization, that they care about them, they will definitely care about the cause. And this is one of the things that has been working for us. Apart from this, that is working for us. So let me give you an instance again. How many of you have been to an event, and when you go for an event, the speakers speak, and after the speakers speak, you just see that some of the people that attend the event goes to the speaker stand to want to take pictures. So when I saw that for the very first time, I was thinking that, why do people go to take pictures to show that they are speakers of a particular event, that they are not they're not speakers, but they want to show that they are speakers and they want to post on social media. It means that people want recognition. People want to be part of an organization that recognizes them. People want to speak. People want to be on the podium too. So we recognize this, that people also want to be recognized within our organization. So some of the recognition might not be monetary benefit, but then we give our volunteers the opportunity to like develop themselves within the organization, opportunities to speak, opportunity to organize programs. So sometimes when we have our trainings, for some of our volunteers are speakers at the trainings, just to develop themselves, to contribute. And the fact is that they are competent to take on those courses, right? They are like, they are experienced facilitators. Like we've trained them, we've groomed them, so they can do all of these things. So they feel like, oh, I'm speaking, yeah, I'm contributing, I'm moderating this session. Oh my God, like I'm super important. And because of that, they feel like good. So just imagine you're just the founder and you're the only one speaking everywhere. You're the only one speaking. You're the only one showing. It's just you alone, and you are not connecting your volunteers to such opportunities so that they can also speak within the organization whenever they have events. It will definitely like reduce their morale. So we ensure that volunteers are also on the scene, right? We're showcasing them at every point in time so that they can still feel like, I'm part of this cause and I'm among like, oh, people just want to like, okay, I'm facilitating this session. So whether it's the strategy boot camp, whether it's programs, whether it's our safe boot camp that we have for teenagers, some of our volunteers facilitate some of the sessions, and even our multi-online training, our volunteers facilitate these sessions. Like you see, our volunteers facilitate sessions on emotional intelligence, on fundraising, and that's really incredible to see. So that's a model that works when volunteers can feel like, I'm part of this organization and I'm also like speaking, I'm having an opportunity to develop myself as a leader. And one of the things that we do is that you own the organization. Like you have to own it, you have to own the initiative. So whenever they are leading the project, they own it, they do it. Even when the senior members of the team or the senior members of the staff are not there, they own this initiative, they own the program, they own the numbers, they own the impact of the organization. And when people can feel that they own the organization, they are willing to commit themselves to the cause and to the initiative. So a question you might need to ask yourself is that your volunteers own things within the organization is something that you need to think about. So our model basically is that opportunity that we give for volunteers to lead within the organization, to lead core projects, to develop key skills, and to be heard within an organization. That's a model that work. And so we thrive on volunteer. Like, we have a volunteer development plan, so we thrive on volunteers. And part of the model is the benefits and motivation. So what are those benefits that you get from volunteering? Apart from the skills, the training, you also get a recommend you can get a recommendation letter. So it's very important that when you're creating your volunteers plan or strategy, you have to list out the benefit that people get and commiserate it with cash. So they might not get paid in terms of cash, but this is what they get from the organization that you can commiserate with cash. So for instance, you might say recommendation for a master's program, a scholarship opportunity, a fellowship. We can provide a sort of like recommendation. We can even give you like, so the fact that you're mentioning Zozo, and some people know, oh, Zozo network, oh yeah, we know this organization. These are some sort of like benefit that you get within the organization, and apart from the certifications that you get from each training. So this is one of the things that we provide for our volunteers. So you have to look at what are the benefits, what are they getting in return, is something that you need to look out for. Let me just tell you something, and this is very plain. People would not want to volunteer because they don't want to get anything. There must be something you want to get in return if you're volunteering. Like, you can't just come like say, I want just to contribute to humanity, or you want to just come like you can't just come to that organization to say you just want to come. It's either you want to develop a skill, you want to like, there must be something you want to get, and this is how you look at your benefits. This is how you create your motivation strategy for your volunteers. And sort of, so every quarter we do like an evaluation. You get a sort of like evaluation of, okay, what have you done within your department. And yes, if you if you don't qualify, we remove you, but we give you an opportunity to appeal. So we actually removed some certain people from our volunteer team recently, but we give them an opportunity to appeal. So they came up with like, oh, this is what happened, right? And we give them an opportunity to stay, and we set like a sort of like new goals and new milestones for them. So you don't have to be ruthless all the time. So you also have to give your volunteers the benefit of that benefit of doubt. Like, okay, you can come back, but this time around, you set new goals with them. And we do quarterly, we do yearly evaluation. So you fill the evaluation form, and if you don't qualify, just bid yourself goodbye. That means you don't want to like contribute to the cause. And one of the model that we're using is that we're using, every organization use different organization models. So for some people, they use mass volunteering, but we will use the new model. So you don't have to say we have over 1,000 volunteers and we can't even account for our volunteers. So we use a new model. So we can say that we have 50 volunteers, we have 40 volunteers, we have 20 volunteers, and we can account for these volunteers, and we can say that these are our volunteers are growing, and this is what they are doing in the course of volunteering with us. And so many other times our volunteer, when they will complete 2 years of volunteering, they're going to like work in spaces. So we have our volunteers who are now working with the UNDP. Like myself, I'm working with Peace First. A couple of other young people who are working at different places and different organizations. So this is how we prepare our volunteers for such opportunities, through providing them leadership opportunities within an organization, and allowing them to also contribute to our cause, and allowing them to also work on the other side. So as much as you want to give your volunteers the work to do, they also have to like, what are you also providing for them? How are they learning within the organization? And how are they staying motivated within the organization? So these are some of the things you need to put in place. And this is just our volunteer strategy, and this is how we run and we move. And yeah, basically. So, and thanks for sharing all of these things that you've shared, with me around what you're looking out for in a volunteer. So, the being open-minded, understanding organization core values, attitude, availability, interest, and self-motivated volunteer. So these are like some of the things we also look out for. But most importantly, we also look out for your passion to want to serve. So what are your dedication towards service? Right? So this is one of the things that we look out for. Like I used to say, and that's one of our mantra. You don't volunteer because you want people to see you that you're volunteering. You volunteer with the heart. So that's it. Volunteering is not with the eyes, but with the heart. It's the heart you volunteer with. So it's that art, that connection that we see, that commitment that we want to see. And yeah, I mean, so this is I just want to share a bit with you guys. And I don't know if you have. I'm looking forward to answering questions. I can give instance from my own personal experience around volunteering, and also I can give instances based on our own model. And if you would like me to share, I can also share my own volunteering journey with us and how it can inspire you to build your own volunteer model, and how it can also inspire you to, apart from even managing volunteers, to also be volunteer yourself. Because if you run an organization and you're managing your volunteers, sometimes it's important to stand in their shoes to volunteer with another organization and to learn how you are managed, and you can translate those knowledge to also managing your volunteers too. Thank you. Are we sleeping? I don't know.
Not at all. We are here.
Yeah, so yeah, great.
Oh, do you still have a question you want to ask? Okay, are there any questions? Okay, thank you so much. This was very, very clear and explicit, and I believe people have learned a whole lot. I'm even looking at this thing that we have on our screen that we can probably turn into an article and probably publish a note on volunteering or something like that.
Yeah. So I should not delete this document, right?
Yeah,
I can share.
You probably can send it to some guys to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Wura.
They have questions.
Oh, okay. If you have questions, you should ask so that 2 hours.
Thank you very much, Kate, for that explicit session. I mean, this particular session is a session I've really been looking forward to. I think I was one of the people that actually facilitated Dr. Shegun bringing you on board to talk to us tonight. I don't know how true that is, but I think so. Okay, so I've been going through a whole lot. I know I've once discussed this with you, Kay. I don't know if you remember. I've been having a whole lot of issues with volunteer management. A whole lot actually, but I don't even know how to start. However, I think I would start from somewhere. So I particularly want to know the step-by-step guide you use for your volunteer, for Sozo Network volunteer onboarding process. Why I'm saying all of this is because, okay, during our own volunteer onboarding process, so far so good, we've only had the opportunity to call for volunteers once. And that particular time, I could remember we called for volunteers. We had over 223 applications, and we only needed 30 volunteers to take up specific roles. A lot of people actually showed interest. They filled in the Google form. We asked a couple of questions, if they will be available, what skills do they have, what position, what team would they be interested in working with, and all of those things. I did all of those things. We had over 200 entries. We selected 20 people, 30 people rather. In fact, I had to set up a committee that was in charge of interview because we did a two-step volunteer onboarding process. Not really onboarding process, but then the recruitment process rather. So we selected people based on the first questions we rolled out. So I think about 50 people qualified to the interview stage. So I needed to set up a team that was part of the interview rather. So those guys are not even part of my organization. They were guys from different part of the state who are just my colleagues who are also working in the non-profit space. So they interviewed some of those guys for so that I won't have to interview them from a biased point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, we brought about 30 people on board. So I believe for them to have gone through all of those stages, I believe they were passionate enough. I believe they had this great vision. They wanted to move stuff. But along the line, I just begin to realize that the vibe was not just there for them again. They were not really interested. Sometimes I had to call them individually to check up on them, to ask them what's going on. And they're just there. Sometimes I'll be the one to, draw out plans for a particular project. I'll be the one to ask them what they think about it. Sometimes they just feel uninterested about everything going on. Man, sometimes I have to type a whole lot on my board group chat to ask them their opinion about stuff, to ask them what is really going on. And nobody is there anymore. Unlike the very first 1 month when they all came on board, I tried my best. I shared the vision of the organization, where we are going to in 2 years' time. I mean, all of those things. But it seems it's not working anymore, to be very honest. And secondly, there is, I think, one of the greatest skills I've learned working with people, especially volunteers, is the ability to manage diverse thoughts and opinions. So sometimes I come up with, so one of it I actually realized that our program officer, I think one of the greatest mistakes I made was that I selected our program officer based on his educational background. I think he studied education. I read his profile. I realized that he had worked on a couple of education projects and all of those before I brought him on board. Not knowing that he belongs to the board of several organizations. I mean, he's working with a lot of organizations. So most of the time when I talk to him about a project and I need him to make certain research, we can make it happen. He just, I mean, he's just there. He's just there. Nothing's going to happen. So along the line, I realized I'm the one doing everything. So I need to ask a lot of questions. Is it because I don't have a co-founder, or is it because even me myself as the head or as the initiator of the organization is not really progressing as it were? I mean, I was beginning to ask myself a couple of questions, a whole lot. So I really want to know. So especially when I have a particular thought, I share them on our board group. So a lot of people begin to give conflicting, opinions. This person will say it does not make sense this way. This person will say it makes sense this way. So at the end of the day, I am being forced to be a dictator, although I don't seem to show it, because by the time I drop a suggestion on board, and 50% of people say is A, 50% of people say is B. So which way do we go? Which side do I take? So that kind of thing. So I think you should answer this set of questions first. Thank you.
Yeah. So the questions are different routes, different root causes. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to say I know there are plenty parts to that question, and
yes, it's numerous.
Perhaps the part that maybe we may not have covered is how we give people positions and what they go through. Just you have to have been around, you have to have seen, and all of those things. I'll let you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, first and foremost, before I enter into the I provide response to the question, I think one thing is that the way you handle volunteer, like there are different levels of handling volunteers, and there are different levels of recruiting volunteers. So like when you're starting up, it's very hard for you to go through those kind of recruitment process, and you're going to get people who will be willing to dedicate their time and commitment to the cause. It's somehow difficult. So I know Doctor can share this from his own, from his perspective of how Zozo started. So there were like some just group of people who were like passionate about the cause. So it didn't just start like we are now over 140 committed volunteers. So it started with just those very few people who didn't even go through any recruitment process. Just those 3, 4, 5 people who were passionate about the cause, and who were there carrying on the work. So more of like a mean model. So there are some. So at the point of starting, sometimes you don't really need a sort of like rigorous recruitment. So you have to have been able to like build the organization to a certain level, then you now start building sort of like recruitment strategy. So the first thing you need to look out for at the beginning, when you're starting up, is looking out for the few passionate people that you can bring together and they can rally around you, and you guys can make the decisions together and you can drive the initiative. And as you drive and drive and drive the initiative, and you're telling the stories the story in a really powerful way, it then begins to attract similar people from their own network and from your own network who will be willing to commit their resources and time to the initiative, and who will be willing to say want to stay. So these are like they are like some of our old volunteers that are like, they are no longer our volunteers again, definitely. So but then they've already like gotten to that point, and we've already like that point of, okay, we are done, like we need to move to something else, and they're like new people that we brought in. But then the organization has gotten to that position that can go through those sort of like recruitment process. So when you're coming in, definitely there's what we do SWOT, sort of like analysis of understanding your core area of strength. So as you're filling the form, definitely you're already feeling like an area of strength. So the moment you fill in your area of strength during the when you're filling the form, every real-time task that you get, and every the real-time task that you get, the interview that you get, are based on the part that you pick. Like if you say that you are good with human relationship, we can see it from your from the form. You're good with people management. Definitely, you are going to be working in the volunteer department somehow, or maybe you're going to be with people engagement somewhere that you can contribute, and you can connect with people. So we recruit based on people's area of interest and area of strength. So when you do that and you position people, sometimes they're able to like contribute, and they're able to give back. And when we talk about board members, like we don't just I don't want to delve into board members, but you don't just bring people on board as volunteers. Like when you bring them on board, they have to be like specific skills that they need to be contributing to the organization. So instead of looking at somebody who has the all-round skills, you can look out for somebody who has a strong knowledge in legal background and bring the person on legal basis to be on the board. So whenever you're having problem with legal or something, you can reach out to them, and they will constantly be, you see, like when people are passionate about the cause, you will know it. So constantly they will even be calling you and holding you accountable. Like I don't think I have to say this, but doctor, should I talk about my master's scholarship if I'm permitted? So I yeah, so I just want to like share this with you. Like I've not really announced, so I'm just sharing because it's a close network. So I got a master's scholarship to study at the University of Edinburgh. I got a masterclass scholarship to study African international development. So I'll be resuming September. So when I got this, I have to leave. Like I have to leave, and there's some certain. So one of my board members reached out to me and said that, Mr. Man, your initiative, how would you run? Hope your initiative will not suffer. It shocked me, honestly, because how could somebody ask me those kind of questions? And same thing when I ask people like doctor would say something to would say, what are you putting in place to ensure that this organization continues to run when you leave? You get, so when you have those kind of people on your board, people who are willing, like people who are committed to the organization, not just random people. People who are willing, who are committed, they might not have achieved a whole lot of things, but they have specific knowledge. They have that specific knowledge about the industry, about some specific things. So somebody who have knowledge about financial background, so those, they can help you with decisions around how you create your budget, how you get different source, how you create your budget and how you run the initiative. So, you just have to be very careful when you're appointing board members. Like, I've made my own mistakes, and I just feel like you need to, like, look for specific people, specific skills. Some people will even apply, and they will apply with a whole lot of. I know that we have seen applications in Sozo where people are saying I've gotten social opportunity, I've gotten the whole world. No, we are not looking for someone who have gotten the whole world. We need someone who is passionate and who is willing to develop within the organization. Someone who is hungry to want to run within the organization. So, so when you get this kind of people, they will be willing to commit their time, their resources, and these are people who are even willing to learn. So they can come to your organization and make mistakes. That they will be the one handling stuff. They will even make mistakes along the journey, and they can learn. They can develop the skills. We are not looking for people who are perfect, but we are looking for people who can even make mistakes within the organization, right? So it's something that we need to pay attention to. So there is it's just it's a long conversation if we go into this, but you need to just look out for those people who are willing to learn, who are willing to do the real work, and don't look at people. Because the mistake that we make is, so maybe somebody writing his application, I've gone to Yali, I've gone to blah, 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 I've gone to everything. And because of that, you quickly accept them into the volunteering, but they won't contribute. They won't really contribute. So you have to look out for people who have the passion and who are willing to run with the organization. So again, you start you start small, and then you continue to grow big, and then you continue to add all of these structures in place to build your organization. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My question is, I wanted to ask a question concerning the startup and the size of volunteers to have. But I think you mentioned that you're closing remark by saying you have to at least make it structured and gradually you improve on the number and know who to bring on board on the long run. As you mentioned, but the other thing I want to ask is the recruitment of volunteers. Most times we explore social media, and it's more or less like some people say social media is a fake cause. Ordinarily, what are the other options that you believe could actually bring about attracting those who are intentional about what they choose to do? I don't know, what are the other options aside social media way of recruiting volunteers?
Yeah, so this is more of, you're asking more of a question of human resource, which is like almost what I do with Zozo, like the volunteer management. So apart from social media recruitment or social media outreach to get volunteers, one of the things that you might look at is recommendation. So, but then they will still have to go through the process, definitely. But they are recommending people. So you just like, I'm recommending this person to volunteer with this with this organization. So maybe you have a board member or a trusted person that that you're in the same network, and they feel like there's a young person who is passionate and needs an organization that they can grow with and they want to learn from, so they can say like, we want to recommend this person to this organization. So when they recommend, they will still go through the process, because you can't just recommend someone and you just bring the person into the initiative or something. The person has to go through the interview process, but the person already have an edge because of the recommendation, and you already know that somebody gives you the awards already, like they are recommending this person. So so they won't want to destroy that person's reputation. Whenever they come to the organization, they'll be willing to commit their time. So one of the things you might look at is recommendation. One of the things you might look out again is people who reach out to you directly. So we have some people that they want to reach out to you directly, that I'm reaching out to you and I'm passionate about this thing. Like they would want to come. I attract like that's how we attract some people. They will just reach out, definitely. So you would know from the way they reach out to you that they really want to learn. And and one thing again is that you don't just give them position, you have to also test them. So we have, like, maybe now we're having our safe conference. So we just give, like, I was tested before I was even given volunteer management manager. I was tested a couple of times. When I did before I turned 18, I was just a normal volunteer, who came on board, and I just, like, I was asked to do volunteer recruitment and placing volunteer into positions and coming up with, like, I had to, like, come up with um, the descriptions for volunteers, and I came up with those stuffs and I showed up, and gradually there were, like, different roles. There were times that I even did many different roles. There were times I would write reports. So I still have my book of where I wrote all those reports in them. So you would have to test some people sometime. You give them roles to see if they are going to shine on the role. And this is what you use to make some certain decisions again, to ensure that maybe some people are going to stay or some people are going to go, or you're going to give them positions to lead within the organization. So so this is one thing we need to look at. So you can explore recommendation beyond social media. So you can explore recommendation, you can explore people who would reach out to you directly after they've seen your work, personal relationship with other people and other organizations. So these are some of the things you might want to look at. And when you feel like so let's say, for instance, you've already made a mistake and you have a lot of volunteers within the organization already. So one thing you need to do is then you now break your volunteer team into different groups. So you can just pick up like 5 people who from the task forces, or maybe 4 people from the task forces, and these are people who will be driving every work. And they'll be like, you would think everybody is working, but these are the 4 people who are the engine room, and they'll be the one driving the initiative and making things work. Tolani was saying, like, looking out for co-founders. So if you feel like you need somebody else to run your initiative, let's say, for instance, you got a bigger role and you need somebody to join your team, you can look out for someone who you just give a director of programs or a CEO, chief operating officer. The person has like a power like the director, and the person does the work. In fact, if anybody comes to you for recommendation, you tell the person that they should go to the person for recommendation. So you might have a COO or someone who is like in Sozo, we have like somebody who is like the director. Like if I need anything now, I won't go to the founder. I will go to the person, because that's the person that is in charge. So you might need to look out for and the person must have shown commitment over time to the initiative, and they can help you drive the course. And in case you have maybe something happens and you're traveling or something, you have someone who is willing to carry on the course. And as you continue to lead your volunteers, you also need to continue to think about a stage where you would get to where your volunteers will become staff of the organization, and when you start paying them to. It's a gradual process. It's a step, like I say, and it's a step that we all already have gotten to, and we're still looking forward to see how our volunteers can become part of the team and they can, earn within the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Basically, yeah. So I mean, I don't know if there's anything I want to say again, or if there's any question I want to ask. Like, even if there's any question you want to ask.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, I think Kay has actually really said everything. It's important that you test people before you entrust them with your vision. It's very, very important. Like all the guys that like I say, I don't it's becoming worse, I think. I don't know so much about Zozo as time goes on. And sometimes it makes me scared, because like someone saw something on our social media and was asking me how did he get there, or what was it about. And then I had to ask like 3 different people to get that information. And while that's good, what that sometimes makes me feel somehow, rather, it's good because that's one thing you want to achieve as a leader. As leaders, I think you should work towards striving for automation. And what I mean by automation is that things running on their own. And the only way things can run on their own is if people have little small pieces of everything to worry about. So, like for instance, K has to worry about bringing in people to train our volunteers, ensuring that volunteers are. He does not worry about volunteer doing their work. Let me clarify that. He does not worry. K's responsibility is not to worry about if volunteers are doing their work. His own responsibility is to ensure that they develop, to ensure that when they come into the organization, they have all they need to succeed, and both in the work that they are doing for us and and their own personal work as well. Can you see his role is very streamlined and clear, and he knows that this is what I have to do. So it's easy for him to do it over a long period of time because it is not overwhelming or exhaustive. The same way goes to, what's the name of that lady that calls people for a birthday again?
The one forgotten name.
Like that. So that's like the only thing the person has to worry about. There are now other people that would ensure that, okay, these people do their work. So you want to break the big work down into so many pieces that is easy for anybody to quickly do it, quickly pick up a piece of it and go ahead and implement it. And that's like how you can achieve automation. Now, by putting those things down, you want to make it clear and you want to write it down as policies, or you want to institutionalize it so that whenever other people come into the organization, they pick up those best practices or those set policies and they begin to do it. But 3 things that I found out to be very helpful when you think about volunteering is that don't choose people that you think are already there. Choose people that are hungry and people that needs the opportunity. And the second thing is that create incentives for them. I am always saying it that we give our volunteers way more than some of them give back to us, and it's a thing of joy because the kind of exposure and training and opportunities they have through us, they can't just get it anywhere else easily like that. So create incentives, create enough incentives, create a reason, support their idea. In fact, for us at Sozo Networks, we encourage people to start their own idea. Like, babe, you are not going to be working for us all your life. Start thinking about your life. Like the lady that manages our mentorship program, we had a call this morning and we're already thinking about how to transform that mentorship piece of it into an organization on its own. I told you guys about Tempopola yesterday, how Tempopola started by anchoring Safe Conference, and now she has become an anchor on her own. So you need to like help them to, you need to lead them, and that means that you have to identify, you have to like understand where they need to be, and take them towards where you think they are going to, and that starts from the point of application. So we are looking at those applications for people that we can help and for people that can help us. So it is not a one-way traffic.